So as you probably saw in the thumbnail, why I'm ditching 2011s, and honestly, I think you should probably consider it too.
Over.
So this has nothing to do with Staccato, Atlas, any other 2011 brand. I kind of think the hype is a little large, especially, I mean, coming from SHOT Show this year, the 2011 releases were all over the board. Now, that's okay. Totally okay. I love the industry getting larger. I love different guns being made. I love different manufacturers jumping into different platforms. I just think there's a lot of hype around it, and a lot of people forgot about the basics. Some background, I've owned 3 2011s. So I owned a Rock Island TAC Ultra FS, all the words, more or less. It was just a double stack 1911 5-inch. I've owned a Staccato P, and I've owned a Staccato C2. My only gripes going through the 3, the Rock Island, it was kind of hard during COVID to get magazines for it. Just kind of how it was. Arms Corps didn't have any. And they also couldn't tell me when they were going to get them back in. The Staccato P, I actually sold the Rock Island to get the P. It is in every way, I think, a better gun. I don't know if it's necessarily $2,000 more better, but I ended up selling that and going right back to Glock. You know, a year or so later, another deal popped up, Staccato C2 with an optic, right around $2,000. I really couldn't pass it up, so I've shot that for the last year, and as you guessed it, I'm back to Glock again. The hardware is great, the firearms are great. Not looking at you, Prodigy, but I mean, I think they're solid for the price. Truly, I really do, especially for a high value handgun. And 2,500, if you didn't know, is not actually that high value for a handgun. There are plenty of guns that are way more expensive that you'll probably shoot exactly the same. But at the end of the day, what does it do? They all shoot bullets. So that has a caveat, though, also to knowing the platform, shooting well with the platform. As a first-time gun buyer, I always stray people away from 2011s. I don't think as a first-time gun buyer that's necessarily your best option. I actually always recommend going to a range that has rentals, rent a bunch of guns, see what you like. That could end up being a 2011. It could also end up being like an H9. Probably not, but it could be. You never know. But let's stick around like the $2,500 to $3,500 range, right? So that's usually where like a quality 2011 would start. And for the same price, you could get a Glock 17, which is around, let's call it $600 to $700. 2 extra mags to have a total of 5, which is, those are around $80 for 2. 2,000 rounds of ammo, I would say anywhere from $600 to $700. A quality optic you can get for between 3 and 4. Holster and mag pouches probably right around 120-ish, and then a belt. Let's just say a standard belt, an X belt, something like that, around $60. We're around $1,800 to $2,000 in that range, and like Glock is just a reference. You could do this with any other like pistol around that same price, Echelon, P10C, Hellcat, P365, and so on. There's a lot to mention. I probably wouldn't shoot a P320, but whatever. Ultimately, trigger time is more valuable than a 1911 or 2011, and like having a crispy trigger, right? It's at the end of the day, if you're not good with the overall function or ergonomics of the gun, like what's the benefit just to say you own one? And I think a lot of people fall into that category. Also, if you want a crispy trigger, you can modify any of those other guns to have a very, very good trigger as well. I'm also not a trigger snob, so I'm probably a little biased here saying just shoot your shit, you know, but not the point. So how did I get to this point? Quite literally, I had one bad range session and one bad match. And I had my trusty Glock
45
out in the car. This one it does have a performance trigger in it. Standard Koshu. This is a Rise Aegis mount and shield. And then the Vortex Defender XL, just Streamlight on it. Backstrap. Hive mag release. Those are kind of my standard go-tos. I think this does have a Vickers slide release as well, but that's not, doesn't matter. So I had one bag range session. I grabbed that out of the car, shot it, and I shot it way better than I was shooting the Staccato that day. Now, I'm kind of impulsive when it comes to stuff like that. So my decision to go back to Glock partly was, I think, influenced by the fact that I know the brand. I know how they function. I know them. I've shot them for a long time now. And I always end up going back to them. I'm comfortable with the platform. I really like the ergonomics. A 2011, I'm a lefty. So like that also influences a lot, right? So, I mean, at least with Gen 5s, I have all the functions that I would need on one side of the gun. I don't have to get a specific gun. So that's huge to me. And I did have my Staccato, had an MJD grip, which is the best grip on the market, hands down. It does not get better than that. And he had a lefty slide release, or a lefty magazine release. Perfect. So with all that being said, I do also like the grip angle. That a lot of people hate it. That's fine. So what did I get? What did I switch to? I actually ended up getting a Shadow 2 Compact. I'm going to play with that a little bit later. I've always kind of wanted one, and this is kind of, I think, the perfect bang for buck. I really do like compact guns as well. And then what I'm going to be using going forward, you saw the Glock 45, but also a Gen 5 Glock 34 that has been ported. Same optic, same trigger, except this one has a Jody Glocks trigger shoe on it. I do like the Standard Co better personally, but I'm going to give this, I've only shot it in 2 matches, and it's perfect. Truly, it is perfect. I do have a Hive mag release coming because I do like that style in the metal. It's a little bit extended, but overall, a Vortex Defender XL, and it's more or less the same gun, just a longer slide, and it shoots flat. I like the break, I like the reset, I like everything of that, of both of these guns, and I really can't complain. Another big thing I don't like, and this is also a reason I might not do much with this gun, truly. The weight, the feel, the trigger, everything is great. I'm not a fan of external safeties. Like, they're great. These are fine. I think the 2011 ones are better. I do think that you could probably get away with getting an extended one and never noticing it, but I kind of like my grip being higher. And, oh, sorry, you can't really see that. I kind of cover that. So I don't necessarily know if an extended one would work for me. We're going to play with it a little bit, but for the time being, I'm shooting Glock. That's what we're going with. Those 2 pistols, the Glock 45 and the 34, are going to be my main 2 go-tos for the next year, along with, for any 2-gun series, the Overt Industries SOFR. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, I'm also a very impulsive person. So like, this is kind of a disclaimer right here, disclaimer. I'm pretty impulsive. If I set my mind on something and I'm done with it, that's kind of where we're headed, right? So after that day, I was like, I'm done shooting Staccato. I shoot something way cheaper, better, and more accurately. I think that's just a me thing, and that's okay. Everybody's different, right? So in this case, I ended up with more or less a straight trade, the Glock 34 and the Shadow 2 Compact, and I really couldn't be happier. So all in all, I think you should consider if you're only shooting a Staccato, go back to what you used to shoot. Go back to your Glock, your SIG. Be careful reholstering. Be careful everything, right? You know, it didn't end today, as they would say. So have a good day. Stay safe. And if you wanted to see how these guns are running, that's coming up next.
Load, make ready. Shooter ready.
Yep.
Stand by. Finished and the trigger clear. If clear, slide forward, pull trigger, and holster. Range is clear, 1911.
That's not 1911.
Range going high. Make ready. Shooter ready.
Yeah.
Stand by. If finished, unload to clear. If clear, slide forward, pull trigger, and holster. Range is clear, 2248.
All
Who
score.
do we appreciate?
Clean run.
Clean run, yeah.
Daddy!
Hand me that rifle real quick. Load.
Not in the chamber.
Fucking wrong-handed.
Not chamber.
I've never shot this gun. I bought it from Jake and that's it.
You're
Double
right-handed. You're left-handed on both.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has a lefty hand.
It's gonna be fun.
We good.
Don't worry about it. It's gonna be great.
I'm not worried. You should be worried.
I'm not worried at all.
Woo. I should be worried.
Hey. Range is hot. Make sure you have eyes and ears on.
High ready, low ready.
Low ready.
Is this blinking?
It is. It's red.
Okay.
All right. Let me press the test speed. Okay. Can you hear that? All right. Low ready, which is shoulder. Yeah. There you go. Shooter, are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
This actually
So quick,
shoots a lot
quick,
flatter than I expected.
Yeah, nice. Oh, pull the trigger and holster.